So it's Monday, and we're going to take a look at MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin and see where it ended up for the day. And if you stick around to the end, I am going to show a couple plays that I am swing trading. Hello, my friends. This is Legend. So today we're going to look at MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin. It looks like today it was up and then it pulled back, right? So we're going to jump right over into the Webull chart. But before we do that, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button and like button if you appreciate this kind of content. So let's jump right over into the Webull chart and check them out. All right, so here we are looking at the Webull chart for MSTY. And we are currently looking at the actual movements of the candles. And as you can see, we did have a red day today. It did basically trade sideways, right? The open and close from Friday to today was only 8 cents, right? So not much difference in the movement. But when it came out and it opened at $21.32. So when it first came out, it looked like it was going to be a very nice day as it was moving up, right? And if I switch it over to that 5-minute chart, you can get a better view of what I'm talking about here. All right, so here we are looking at that 5-minute chart. So each candle represents 5 minutes. So it's on the interval of 5 minutes right down here at the bottom. And as you can see, when it first came out, it opened at that 21.32. It went as high as 21.34, and it was just downhill from there, right? Because at that same 5-minute interval, it went as low as 21.11. And as you can see, it just kept on going, right? And we ended up the day pretty flat from Friday. And what I mean by flat is if I scroll it back on to show the Friday close right here, you can see that cursor and that horizontal line that you're looking at there, it is pretty close to being just flat where we ended up today. It was only 8 cents lower than it was on Friday. But man, did it start off high. And you can see in the after hours over the weekend there, I mean, it was pretty high, right? And when it came out, I thought, wow, we're in for a nice run today, but it just pulled on back. So let's go back to the day chart. All right, so here we are back on the day chart, still on the actual movement of the candles here for that chart. And like I said, there's that candle, right? It just pulled all the way back all day today. Started off nice, ended up low, right? So it did end up dropping down some. So let's go ahead and flip it over to the adjusted chart and let's see where does that sit on that Bollinger Band. So I'll go to my chart settings again and flip it over to adjusted, and there we go. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide those lines. I'm going to turn on my Bollinger Band so we can check that out. And here we are on the Bollinger Band. And like I said, it was pretty much a flat day from Friday. But it is on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band. And that RSI 2 is below 10. It's actually at 8.07. So that would have been a potential buy point for me. Now, by the time I actually saw this, it was toward the end of the day. And I put in a buy order at $20.70. But like I said, it was at the end of the day. So I just basically missed that opportunity altogether. And that's what happens whenever you have a day job, right? You check it once in a while. And if you have a busy day, you may not be able to check it until the end of the day. And that's what happened to me. So I put in a $20.70 buy order, and it does not look like it's going to go through. But that's okay. Again, I will just wait for another day. So let's just get an idea of where we might be setting by looking at MSTR. Is this possibly going to be coming on down, or are we setting at a support line? Okay, so here we are looking at MSTR now on the charts. And as you can see, yesterday when I did a video talking about the Friday close, we were basically testing this same support line. And today we are again testing that same support line. And that support line being around that 404 area, it did open up at 416.95. And like I said, I thought this was a great sign and we were going to be moving on back up, but man, it just went south, right? So it went from the 416.95 and it went as low as 403.46 before closing at 403.80. So we are just testing this 404 area right here. We are slightly below it, but again, I see that we are just testing this line. So we'll see if we can hold that line and then bounce off of it, or are we going to break on down? Now keep in mind, coming up the end of this month, we will have earnings for MSTR. As you can see right here, July 31st, we will have an earnings call on MSTR, and I'm hoping that that will be a very good earnings call. So it is possible that it is coming on down just so that we can pick it up and then ride it right after the earnings, right? That would be nice. But of course, if it is not so good of an earnings call, then this could be coming on back down and we could be testing more of that 392, 393 area or lower, right? So we'll see how that turns out in just a few days, right? And that again is on July 31st. Now we do see that the momentum bars here are increasing. So this price is being pulled on back down. We do have more separation here on the downside, and that RSI 14 is still going down slightly, right? Now the RSI 2 did end up dropping below that 10, and let's see where that sets on the Bollinger Band, as I imagine it might be below the midpoint of that Bollinger Band. And there we go. Let me hide those lines just so that it's easier to see. And you can see right here's the midpoint, and that midpoint being about 418.09, and today it closed at 403.80. I had again a buy of 403 even, and it did not get there yet. But it's very possible we may see it coming on down before we get to earnings. And then maybe right before earnings, we get a lot of buy-in and it'll push it back up, right? A lot of people may be trying to play the earnings call and we'll start buying right before the earnings call and then push it up. We'll see. But since it is on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band and it is below that 10 is why I did put an order in to purchase a couple shares at 403 even. I did set it to good till cancel this time. That way, if it happens to drop down to 403 after market or pre-market hours, then it will buy them at the 403. But if it doesn't, then it will just sit there and wait. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, of course, what drives MSTR? Well, that's Bitcoin. And let's take a quick look here. And now we're looking at Bitcoin. And as you can see, we are still just trading within this range, right? It's just staying right here in this channel. It is not wanting to move out of it. And it was down today about 0.98%. So of course that probably is why MSTR got pulled down. And then of course when MSTR gets pulled down, MSTY gets drugged down with it, right? Now, the other day when we were talking about Bitcoin, we were talking about the momentum bars right here as they were decreasing, right? But it looks like it did increase slightly today. So you can see that little bump right here, and I'll move my cursor so you can see it, but it's right here, as it did start trying to go toward that signal line, which is the blue line, before turning and then turning back down, right? So that momentum on the negative side did continue to increase. But Bitcoin itself is just really kind of staying comfortable right here in this range. And it'll be comfortable until it's not, right? And then it'll take off or it'll drop back down. One way or the other, it eventually will move out. So that's the overview of MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin. And I wanted to do something a little bit different for the back end of this one. And if you're still listening, I just wanted to show a couple of the plays that I am swing trading just to change it up a little bit. And one of those plays is IBM right here. And as you can see, they did have a drop in the price here off of earnings. And I did buy a couple shares of this one on Friday. So this candle right here, I did buy a couple shares. And I purchased those shares at $257.50. Okay? And as you can see, it is below actually the bottom of the Bollinger Band. And that RSI 2 is at 1.12, right? So I bought a couple shares right here at this level. And for this one, I'm just going to swing trade it, meaning that I'm going to just buy at a low and then sell it as it moves up, right? So I bought it because it was at the bottom of that Bollinger Band and the RSI 2 was below 10. And I'm looking to sell it when that candle gets above that moving average 5. And that's a 5-day moving average. So let me show you what that looks like. So we'll turn off my Bollinger Band here. And I'm going to turn on my moving average. And there you go, right here. So I purchased my shares. And I can draw a line right here. And we'll enter in my buy point of $257.50. And we'll change the style here to a dotted line. And I'll just make it white, as that's my buy-in point. All right. So right here's the today's candle, right? It did go up. And that moving average 5 is coming on down. Because the two are like magnets, right? One will be attracted to the other. And eventually they will come together before crossing and heading the other direction. And eventually, like I said, they will all come together. So as this is moving up, currently my moving average for the 5-day is at 269.48. So I need this candle to keep moving up some. Or as this MA5 drops and that candle stays above it, once it gets above it, then I can set a stop limit order at about that moving average 5 number and value or price, whatever you want to call it. And if that stock would happen to drop down, then it would trigger and sell it. But I will have made the difference between my buy point and my sell point. So right now, I just own a couple shares. And once the candle crosses that 5, then I can put in a limit sell order so that I can capture those gains. So I'm not looking to really make a whole lot, but I am playing around a little bit with swing trading here. I only have 2 shares, and right now at a 257.50, I am up, but I don't have a stop set currently. Once this candle moves on up, then I can set a stop. So over the next few days, if this does cross over, I'll show the update on this one. And the other one that I did is Coca-Cola, KO. And let me turn the MA off and the Bollinger Band on. As you can see right here, it did get down to the bottom of that Bollinger Band. And I did purchase about 5 shares of this one at about $68.12. So I got it at a pretty low price here. So I feel like I did pretty good on this one. And that's my buy-in point for Coca-Cola here. And I can go in here and I can draw a line. I'll change the style as well with the color, and we will change that value to 68.12 as my buy point, and we'll see, can it move on back up. So let's just go ahead and take a look to see where it sets against the moving average 5. So I'll turn the Bollinger Band off, turn my moving average back on, and there you go. That green line, that is the moving average 5, or 5-day moving average. And currently it's at about 69.04, right? This would need to move on back up, and the hopes is it does that before the moving average 5 drops below my buy point. But as this would happen to drop, and say it dropped down to 67 or so, and that RSI 2 was down below 10 still, I could dollar cost average that, and that would lower my average here and help buy me a little bit more time for the stock candle to move back up and then hopefully cross that moving average 5 above my current average price. And that's my current average price, right? Now, I'm not really going into much detail of why I selected these outside of what I've just told you here, but there's a couple other things that I'm looking at before I select it, right? Because I'm actually looking, is this overall a good stock? Has it been going up over time? So there's other things that I'm looking at before I actually get into it. But if this is not really much of an interest for anyone to really watch or view, then I won't really go much further into the swing trades. Now, I don't do a lot of them, but the ones that I do, I could do a video in combination of the videos that I am doing to just update my swing trades, right? So let me know your thoughts on that. Is this something of interest to anyone on the swing trades? And, would you like to know a little bit more detail of what I'm looking for? Now, I am no professional by all means, nor am I a financial advisor. I'm just showing what I'm doing out here, as you will make money and you will lose money. It's just part of the game. But let me know if you're interested in something like this and should I continue it. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.